characters it possesses. One of the main characters that a destructive emotion possesses is action, right? The action after, so in Buddhism there's three things when in order to have a full, what we say, a full karma. Okay, so if I wanted to create a full karma, there would be three actions involved. First is the motivation, which is the thought process of wanting something or needing something. Yeah, so let's say the concept of stealing karma, right? I create a condition, karmic condition for stealing. So there's three things involved. First is the motivation, which is the wanting to steal. So I see, oh, he has a good watch, or he has a good, something important. I see the money or something. Then, so first is that, and then you start, oh, I want that, I want to steal that. So first is the motivation. Second is the action, which would be actually taking step into, stealing that, right? Taking that, that's the action. And the third one is the motivation after the action, which would be after stealing and I'm going, yes, I stole it, now I have it, I have the money, I have, I'm happy with it, I'm grateful about it, that. So these processes, all of these processes have to do with habituation again. It builds through the habituation, the same system, is no different, same system. But then all I'm trying to say is that these three things are required in order to produce a full functioning karma in some senses, right? Now, when it comes to mental afflictions, the same thing applies there. If the thought of killing someone came, then it's not as bad as the thought coming and actually killing someone. If the thought of killing someone and then killing someone came, then it's not as bad as thought coming, killing, and then after that saying, yes, I did it, he's dead, rejoicing. It's totally different effects. Each one has a different impact on our. So most of us, what happens is the first two things happen. You want to do something, first you have the motivation of doing something, then you end up doing it, and then most of us end up regretting after it. The thought process always ends up, and after doing drugs or something, like you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm addicted to it, I shouldn't have done it, I should have started, and that's when the blaming comes. You start blaming yourself, you start beating yourself up, you start, all of that comes up. So understanding that these three actions are involved in all of this, and the first action is actually the lightest. Understanding that is extremely important in learning to, work with a troubled mind, learning to work with troubled concepts, troubled views. You need to understand that having the view itself is actually not too bad actually, because you having that view is the reason why you are trying to negate that view. If you never had that view, then you would never have the opportunity to work with that view. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's a process of learning in its own way. So you need to be more lighter on yourself, and when the first step happens, then realizing that the first step is actually your second step towards working. So now instead of saying I wanted to kill, then I do the action of killing, then I rejoice in killing. Instead of that, now it becomes I wanted to kill, I saw that killing is bad, then I worked on it. See, now you're shifting the whole concept. So that first step of that karma can actually be something fruitful, something good, something beneficial to you. Yeah. If you have the first thought and you start blaming yourself, you start criticizing yourself, you start beating yourself down, you start saying, oh, this is negative, this, that, this, you are useless, that, this, and you put yourself in that situation, then that can really, really, really be a negative input on all of that. Does it make sense? Make sense? You can see the structure that I'm putting it in. So this is, I think, an important point when it comes to tweaking the mind, is being able to see the goodness in the bad. Yeah,
Recognize it's bad. That's positive.
Ah, there you go.
Saying, I'm very bad for thinking.
Yes.
That's just negative.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I've done something, I'll recognise that, so that's positive, so I'll do that again.
Yes. So this is the concept, okay? Working with your mind works. The best way to work your mind is that. Is the experience, the first experience you have of the conflicted mind, and then realizing that that is a conflicting mind. Realizing that the potential of that conflicted mind can be destructive. Realizing that the potential of that conflicted mind can lead you towards chaos. Yeah, whether it is through nihilism or whether it is through eternalism, that one you can figure out. Some conflicted minds take you to nihilism, some conflicted minds take you to eternalism. So realizing that this is where it's headed towards, that becomes the second point of your practice. Without the afflicted mind, you don't reach that second point. So it's actually, that's why I'm saying utilizing is important. Okay, conflicted mind when we are talking about, yes.
Okay, so say the thought enters like of killing, right? But enters the mind. Wherever it's coming from, it enters the mind.
It's coming from?
Wherever it's coming from.
Yes.
From self or other as whatever. So it enters the mind. What I notice is that's when fear kicks in.
When what kicks in?
That's when fear kicks in.
Fear kicks in, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, what is this? Or what am I going to do with this? So where I'm at, and I wonder how what your perspective is, but where I'm at is then I look at that like, oh, look, I'm having a fear around this. And then I sort of struggle, I'm sort of in that space in between.
Yes, yes.
So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah,
So you have the thought of killing, then the fear comes, right?
yeah,
And then you say, now you are stuck. What do I do with the fear?
yes,
Is that it?
yes,
So now you question yourself, why is the fear there?
yeah.
Yeah? Why is the fear there? Is the fear there because what I'm thinking or what I'm thinking to do is, immoral? Is it coming because I'm not compassionate enough? Is it coming from, that's what I'm saying, discovering yourself in that means is important, right? When fear kicks in for a reason. Fear doesn't kick in for no reason. So realizing that reason again helps you in understanding the potential. Most reason why fear kicks in is because of the result. Because the result that, the action, wanting to kill someone and then thinking about, okay, whatever, if I proceeded into that action, that's drastic, that's scary, that's, how could I even do something like that? Then, there's jail, there's, what do you call that? Like consequences, consequences, fear of the consequences, yeah.
For me, it's more like that's where the mind is sort of like, what is the mind? That's where I'm going. Like, oh, what is this fear? I'm not much worried about consequences because that's all material, really. But it's more like, whoa, what is all this? There's like a grandiosity behind it, and that's what I'm scared of.
You're scared of what?
It's like, it's difficult to put on words, but it's...
Could you be fearful because your values are different to what you think?
Yes.
And it's to do with the mind, with the weakness of the mind or something. I don't know, but anyway, I'll just leave it in.
I think the fear can arise for many different reasons. For every person, there is a different reason why fear rises. As for a spiritual person, then it would be spiritual reasons that fear rises. Oh, if I kill, then I'm never, I'm going to hell, I'm, so on and so forth. So that fear is there. For not very spiritual person, it may be because I can be convicted, I can be, felony, I can go to jail, I'll be in jail for 20, 30 years, that can be the fear. For a very intellectual person, then it would be like, okay, the fear is coming because the uncertainty is there, like, what's the point of all of this sort of thing. For a scientific person, fear can come. So like I said, every person has a different reason for the fear coming up. And for some people, there's no fear at all. They're so used to doing it that they just, for them it's a very normal thing. Like think about what you call butchers. Is it butchers? Yeah, think about butchers. I mean, for us, even having to kill, if I put a chicken in front of you and ask you to kill it, the fear is still there. There's fear there. But the butcher, maybe there's fear to killing a human being, but the chicken is a normal thing. For him, there's no more fear there. It's gone. And that also comes because of the consistency of the practice, of the continuity or habituality. Yeah, the mind of, the first time they do it, there's always fear. It's like skating, right? First time you go on a skateboard, there's fear. Fear is there. But then once you're used to it, then the consistency is there. And that's the scary part. What if you, I think the real scary part is that one. For me, I would say it's that. What happens once you become habituated in it? Then no one can stop you. Yeah, you have serial killers, they have been caught, they have been thrown to jail, they have served their the moment they come out, they do the exact same thing again. There's tons of these things happening. Consistency. So that, for me, I think that's a real fear. Right? You heading towards, your mind heading towards that insanity. To be okay with continuing to habituate in that sequence. So that, for me, I would say that's something to really fear. But like I said, different people have different reasons to fear that exact same situation, right? And
Sorry, is fear, fear is basically is it the lack of understanding the thought, lack of understanding the reason, lack of understanding the thought, lack of understanding why?
so fear can come from, some fear can come from too much understanding. Some fear comes from too much understanding and some fear comes from lack of understanding. So fear can come from, I think, many different aspects. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's one thing. Fear, depending on, like I said, situations, fear comes from different reasons and different, yeah.
And fear is that's our emotion, not our mind, right? Fear is the feeling, is our emotion.
It's a feeling that is arise based on, like I said, either too much understanding or lack of understanding of the mind. So it's a reaction. It's a reaction, right? Fear is a reaction. Then it's a reaction that is not pleasant. Yeah, we have deers. Deers, they call deers with the horns. Yeah. So in the monastery, when they're practicing meditation, they say you need to meditate with awareness like a deer. And for a deer, because of fear, the awareness, they say the deer never goes to deep sleep. A deer never sleeps deep like us. Yeah, we can go into sleep snoring, yeah, and then even if it rains, we don't know what happens, we don't know, thief comes, we don't know, some people, their whole house is burning, they still don't know. So we go into very deep sleep. But deers, they're constantly aware. Even when they're sleeping, their ears are moving like this. Scanning, always, constantly. So that's again another kind of fear, and it comes from a different kind of reason, right? Unlike what we are talking about, whether it's too much understanding or lack of understanding, is not that. It's fear for life, fear for death, fear for that. So fear comes from many different aspects, and it's a reaction. And sometimes I think it's also a coping mechanism. So that's why a lot of people, when they have fear, they go into states of shock, states of strength, states of mental, like they manipulate themselves to see things differently. This happens. Fear does all of that. Traumatizing experiences, and I mean, with people that I've dealt with, and the fear they have when it comes to certain aspects of their traumatization, it changes their view totally, like 180 degrees. It completely changes their character, their behavior, their way of thinking, their way of looking. And even if they are convinced that it's the right way, they still don't want to take it as the right way. So that's, I think, like I said, it can be a coping mechanism as well. So yeah, many aspects of fear. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Anyone remember what I was talking about? Huh? Oh yes. So yeah, so the 3 actions of the karma. So like I said, the thing about the mind is there's always an option. Whether you are in the stage where you are not even in the first stage, meaning you are not even thinking about killing, they still, you still have an option of practicing to negate the concept of killing. Then you reach the first stage where the motivation comes. Still not too late. You still have the option to change. Yeah, this is where practice is most, I think, applicable, because a lot of us, the thought has already come. It's just the action hasn't come. Then even if the action does come, then we still have time to work on the actions, work on the process as well. Practice. Yeah, change our motivation. Regret is a huge practice. You do something wrong and you regret, it helps you to develop your character to never do it again. Yeah, people who don't have regret, those are the people who would most likely end up doing it again. But people who have strong regret, they develop strong resentment towards it, right? So this is again a different kind of practice. Now, even if you're on the third point where you have rejoiced after doing an action, you wanted to steal, you steal, after stealing, you are happy that you stole it. Then after years and years and years, then sometimes the thought comes back again. Then regret comes. This happens to a lot of us when we are grown up. As a child, we do a lot of selfish things. We harm other people. We harm animals. We do everything. All 3 karmic, karmic actions are existent. But then, as we grow up, we reach a point and we look back and we think, my gosh, how stupid was I to be doing that, and how inconsiderate I was in those times. I did this and I did that, and I harmed this person and that person. So now again, you still have the time to change. And this is the concept of karma. Karma is not definitive. So a lot of people, I think yesterday I said, a lot of people use karma as an excuse, especially in the Buddhist culture. They say, oh, you can't do this, karma. Oh, I couldn't be able, oh, they didn't do that, oh, karma. It's like you need to exist with it and be happy with it and learn to survive on it. But in reality, that's not true. I always explain karma as a Play-Doh. Karma is exactly like children have Play-Doh, like they play around. So karma is like a Play-Doh in your hand. And the hand is you. Every thought, every action is you moving your fingers. And every time you move your fingers, the shape of the Play-Doh changes. Slowly, but eventually. Yeah? What is it? People who make pottery. Pot? Yeah, it's the same thing. They have control over how they want to design the pot. And the more skilled, what we are doing, practice basically means building the skill to shape the pot, building the skill to shape the Play-Doh in your hand. That's basically karma. Every action you do has an equal reaction, change in the whole. And that's why we have the freedom to change karma anytime you want. Yeah, in Buddhism, in the Higher Yoga Tantra, in Buddhism, it says it only takes you one motivation, strong, impactful, immovable, unmovable. What is it? Immovable. Yeah, one strong, convincing, immovable motivation, and you become enlightened like this. That is, in Tantra, they do actually talk about this. I'm sure you have studied about it, right? In higher yoga tantra, this is how strong concept in the mind is. It just takes you this convincing. It's just to get to that convincing is hard. Once you are convinced, nothing can move you. Yeah. So, like I said, karma is in your hands. You are the master of it. You change it. You shape it, and the result of the shaping is also based on how, like I said, how skillful you are. Yeah. The more skillful you are in building the pot, the more beautiful the pot becomes. So exactly the same. Yeah. I also say that the Buddha was the most amazing artist. Yeah, he was the artist who learned to craft beautiful minds. So your practice and your studies is basically learning to create beautiful minds. You're becoming an artist basically. Yeah, learning the ways and the methods and the means to create beautiful minds. That's what we're here to do. Yeah. And the challenge is troubled minds. How do we deal with troubled minds? So, bottom line, I think something like that. Make sense? Yeah?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Later, so how you say like this, is that the fingers and that is the simple task? That's us being personally responsible too, right?
Yes. So, every thought, every view, like I said, karma, right? Motivation, action, and motivation after the action. So, when you have the motivation, you change. You make one crease in the dough. Then you do the action, you make another crease. Yeah? But then you say, okay, I did wrong. Now you're flattening it back out again. Right? So, this is the play. It's like, if you look at it, it's actually like a toy you have. A very, very important toy you have. Yeah? Discovering Buddhism, I think one for me, I always see Buddhism so interesting, and there's so many options and so many possibilities. It's it's like giving a grown up, people who haven't played with Legos, even when they are grown up and you give them Legos, they're like, when I was in Sydney, one of my friends gave me what do you call a Lego builder for a car, and wow, my mind was fully involved in it. I was like, oh. So for me it was exactly the same. Dharma is exactly the same. You learn to really understand Dharma. You are learning to basically build all these different methods and means and ways to to create this beautiful crystal out of your yourself, out of your emotions, out of your thoughts, out of your values, out of your beliefs, out of your views, out of your perspectives. It's really, really interesting and so open, so amazingly open and so amazingly constructive. The more your mind, the more artistic you are, the better you are able to create it. It's really, really beautiful and really interesting. Anyway, that aside, the perspective of applying, the whole concept of applying these methods in order to shape and construct comes from that. You need to have that passion, that, you say, right, you get us, in the, what do you say, nowadays, when they are selling cookies and like this, then they have small pieces they put out so people can, what do you call that? Sample, yeah, sample. So it's like a sample. You take one bit and you are like, oh wow, so good. You want more and more and more and more. That should be the attitude, I think. We learn all of this and we understand all of this and we see the possibility and and your eyes start to open, your mind starts to open, and then you can't wait to have more. And this is, I think, the approach towards, and like I said, once you get there and you're enjoying the flavor, the taste in your mouth, and you're, so good, right? So it's exactly the same. You just need to get that taste, that first bite. And then, like I said, once you learn to enjoy it, nothing can stop you. It's always the first bite. This is why another thing in basic Buddhism is the basis of Buddhism. You learn to hold on to the basis, the beauty of the base. Then the path is like this. It looks like very far, enlightenment so far. Oh, no, practice. You study the Lamrim, you study the Kunzang Lame Shalong, you study the the three. The free visions. You study all of this. Oh, so far, so much application, so much practice, so much that. Oh, need this, need that, need this, need resilience here, there. But in reality, this is just an explanation of it. In reality, you learn to experience it. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. So I think that is again down to the attitude. The attitude towards approaching is very, 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 very essential. You approach with that attitude. Oh, like I said, you really learn to flavor it in your mouth. Yeah, what is it? The people who taste food, what do you call them? Critics. Yeah, critics. I watch Ratatouille. He sticks one piece in his mouth and his eyes open and he goes back in memory. The same thing, exact same thing. Dharma is exactly the same thing. You get you find that good taste. Once you get the flavor in your mouth, oh, going back everywhere, your mind gets blown. So yeah, so I think this is the approach, important approach towards Dharma as well, especially in regards to how, of all of the things that we talked this morning and just now, how, openly, how much options that we openly have, and the possibilities. Yeah, and the choices is just laid out there. It's not rigid. It's not like you have to do this and you have to do this and you have to do this, and those you're doing this, you don't have any option. Karma is like this. If you have done that, then no more option. You are done for eternity. No, nothing like that. Every choice you make, you are changing your options. You're changing your life. You're changing your view. You're changing your perspective. And on a longer run, you are changing your karma that extends throughout lifetimes. So, you have that power. That's why I'm saying realizing that you have that power is so amazing. Yeah, like I said, we take our mind for granted. So many different levels. It's like a person buying an iPhone just because there's a craze. They don't know the value of it. Then the person who really knows how to use it, they are earning so much money just through their phone, using their phone. Right? So it's exactly the same thing. If you have it and you don't know the value of it, then you're not going to use it you're not going to use it to its full potential. But if you know it, you have it, you know it, and you know the potential, now you're able to, increase your outcome. So the approach is that, I think that is the mindset, the approaching mindset that's important in order to shape the destructive emotions and to shape our life into practice. Okay, we are good. Any questions?
So you think, Rinpoche, what you just said there, in some respects, when people just have a very intellectual understanding of the Dharma, they haven't got that taste for it yet. They might know all the different philosophies and precepts and whatever, but they still haven't got that real passion for it yet.
Yes. Understanding is different from applying. Your ability to apply is completely different from your ability of understanding. You can be a great mathematician but hate math. Yeah? But you can also be a great mathematician and love math. Right? So I think quality is very important. Just like when we buy clothing, we buy quality is important, right? How it feels, the texture, how it fits your body is important. So same thing when it comes to practice, I think it comes down to quality. the qualities that you develop need to shine. Yeah, and also shine not in the sense that it has to be shown off and you need to be somehow have to but in reality shine from deep within. Think about something that you love doing, that you would do it over and over and over and over and over again and again and again and again and again, and you would never be satisfied. Constantly think about something like that. The joy, the inner joy that comes in just in seeing that you have that opportunity. This is the inner quality. Like I said, when we are developing the 6 paramitas, we are developing the 10 paramitas, we are developing the skills necessary, the three principal aspects of the path. When you're developing this, when you actually see the real compassion is the same thing, I think. For me, compassion, when you look from one perspective, it's so far to reach. We are talking about all mother sentient beings. We are not talking about the people in this room. It might look like there is a lot, but in reality, compared to all mother sentient beings, it's nothing. So, the approach people take towards compassion also comes from passion that gives them the conviction. Like I said, if you really, truly, if you are not lying to yourself and you truly, innately realize the true reality of samsara, I think they give the example of it's exactly the same as seeing your mother burning. Yeah, if you have your mother right next to you and she is on flame, it's not that you are suffering, right? You are not on flame, you are not suffering, but the mind just cannot fathom, it cannot stand, it just cannot. Yeah, you will do anything to get that person out of that situation. So samsara is something similar to that, and seeing all sentient beings on flame. Well, now that's a whole different concept again. I think it's it's that urge, that strong, genuine, sincere, unconditional need, urge deep inside your heart, your bones, your your guts, that you need, that you are willing to do anything to to liberate these people, these sentient beings. I think that's why they say they are on fire, right? When you are on fire, nothing stops you. So that's why also when I see practitioners such as Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who when it comes to compassion, like I said, nothing can stop him. Time, like I said, the concept of time disappears. I think the concept of feeling also disappears. I was just telling Tim this story about us going to this big Guru Rinpoche statue in Sikkim, and we were doing puja. It was in winter, we were supposed to do the puja in the morning, ended up reaching there in the afternoon, late, early evening. Then the puja started evening, went out through the evening, it was dark, it was already dark, it was freezing cold. Everyone was wearing blankets and hats and, whatnot, shawls and, Then Rinpoche was there with his bare arms sitting there doing puja. Cold didn't affect him at all. There was no sense of cold. So unless you see that urgency deep inside, like I said, that burning flame of urgency that you need to be able to, help others, then we are affected by everything. Yeah, us before others, right? Me before others. So we are affected by everything. We are affected by sound, we are affected by quality, we are affected by that, we are affected by smell. So I think the motivation, the concept, the approach, that actually makes a huge difference in the quality of practice that you experience. Yeah? Make sense? So that's that. Then what else? Anything else I missed?
You mentioned earlier, and you've readdressed the analogy that a rich man innately does not have the ability to value money, something that they've always committed.
No, not all rich men. I think there are certain aspects of that. There are certain aspects of poor people who don't understand the aspect, the value of money as well. And that differs, right? If I take $100 bill to a place where dollar doesn't mean anything, and I give that person a $100 bill, whether he's rich or poor doesn't matter. There's no value towards it, right? So, anyway, you are saying yes.
Do you think that the troubled mind in your work and in your experience is a common theme and a common link to those who are seeking enlightenment?
If you are seeking enlightenment, most likely, because seeking enlightenment, I know, generally spoken, we are all seeking enlightenment. We say that, but I think it's mere words. If we really go deep searching in our hearts and in our minds, we are still stuck in samsara. We still want a good house, a good job, a good, good food, and good bed. And, we are all just enjoying the time that we have. And seeking enlightenment has to do with the realization of, not the realization, but strong conviction in samsara. Yeah, because enlightenment basically means the desire or the strong will inside you to achieve this state of enlightenment, so that and the whole reason is not for you to get enlightened. It doesn't. At the point where you are seeking enlightenment, you don't matter at all. The only reason you are trying for enlightenment is for the sake of others. That's why even in the prayers we say, "May I achieve enlightenment for the sake of all mother sentient beings." So it's there. So without others, enlightenment is, like I said, meaningless, useless. You can't even achieve enlightenment without others. And the only reason to wanting to achieve enlightenment is for others. Yeah, like I said, for yourself you can go into the Arya path. You don't need to achieve enlightenment. So whether it's true that we are seeking enlightenment, truly seeking enlightenment or not, that one something to discover in ourselves. Everyone has to discover, look deep inside them, and discover. But then if you are on the path to seeking enlightenment, which is the Bodhisattva's path, then most likely you would have already dealt with a lot of the part of the troubled mind. Maybe there are certain aspects of the troubled mind, such as the root ignorance and the grasping attitude, dangzin, self-grasping attitude. This one, you are negating, even in the tantric path, you are negating this self-grasping attitude. So these practices differ, but generally speaking, I would say you have dealt with most of your. You either have dealt with most of your conflicting emotions, or you have learned to use those conflict emotions in order to, we talked about it earlier, right? How to use your conflicting emotions to your benefit. So they have already somehow figured out a way to use the conflict emotion in order to proceed on the path faster, better. That's what I think. Yeah. Make sense? Yeah? Yes, please.
You mentioned that you use anger to do something beneficial.
Yes.
What can you explain?
What?
Can you explain?
Oh, okay. So, I think the smart way, if I say a smart way, it might sound a little bit funny, but anger is a very strong. A lot of people use it as a strong push, So you're angry at someone, so you push yourself onto this side. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So basically, if your mother tells you not to drop this pen, and you're angry at your mother, what do? Right? So you can use it as encouragement. Does that make sense? Anger, basically, if you are skillful enough, you can use anger as encouragement. Fear also can be used as encouragement, because fear encourages us in so many different fields. I think if you close your eyes and you look out throughout the different types of fears that you had in your life, you will see that it has actually encouraged you to do a lot of things. Yeah, the fear of not having money has encouraged you to become, rich. Something like that. And influence in anger and fear and all kinds of delusional views can be used in so many different things. Yeah, sometimes we have the concept of money being bad, money being evil, money being the root to greed, and therefore, it's very bad, money is very bad. But in reality, that's not the case. It's the mind working with the money that can be influenced towards greed. Money is just money. If you were a millionaire and you could help 1,000 people, if you are a billionaire, imagine how many people you could help. It's the mind that decides that. It's not the money that decides that, right? So you can also, there's also called indirect use, right? So if you want to benefit a lot of people, you use anger and fear and all of this in order to become rich, because that is something that you can use in order to become rich, right? We know that. And everyone utilizes it, everyone around us, like we were talking earlier, you use anger to get what you want, right? So you can utilize, and I think it's often the long-term, goal that matters. So sometimes there is giving up certain portions of practice in order to, because the long-term benefit is huge. So we call it the indirect use of destructive emotions. So indirectly, you're using destructive emotions to get something so that you can benefit here. So indirectly, I'm using anger to get a lot of money, so now I'm able to help a lot of people here. Does that make sense also in some ways? So there is different, I think, like what I would say is there are different usages. How skillful you are in utilizing them, now that differs a lot. Just because people say anger is utilizable, and if you don't understand anger, you try to utilize anger, then it can go south very fast. So unless you are, that's why understanding your mind and understanding the value of your mind and the capacity of your mind is important. Because some people are very good at utilizing anger, some people are very good at utilizing fear, some people are very good at utilizing all kinds of different destructive emotions. But just because people are good at that doesn't mean makes you a good person, right? So if you are an angry person, and you have no control over it, then most likely it's better to avoid or better to work on to negating anger, working on the exact opposite of anger and developing that so that the anger slowly minimizes. It's better to do that. But once you're on the Bodhisattva's path, like they say, utilizing anger becomes a profession in some ways. So also if you look at a lot of the beings, they have the wrathful forms, and this is, I think, one of the representations of it. We have Chenrezig, who is the Buddha of compassion, and then we have Hayagriva, who is also Chenrezig. Chenrezig's what we call manifestation, wrathful manifestation, but then it's so different. It's not the kind, smiling, it's with the, so this is the utilizations of the, and then also, like I said, when we were discussing, we were talking about it's not, you need two hands. So then sometimes the other hand is a little bit stubborn, needs a little bit of, pushing, a little bit of scolding. Then there also needs to be used in that method as well. It's about you becoming a skillful artist. So when you do become a skillful artist, then you learn to utilize it. But until that, it can be dangerous if you don't know the right way to utilize it as well. Yeah?
Could we use anger as a motivator for change? When you see a situation where there's social injustice or
Yes.
disparity and a group of people that are disadvantaged or a situation that needs changing and it makes you angry.
Yes, yes, yes,
You
yes.
use that as a motivator to do something about it.
Yes, yes. So I was recently in America and I was doing the 10 days meditation immersion program that we did, and in that America at this time there was a little bit of chaos because of Donald Trump, Mr. Trump. so one day we were talking and then I said Trump utilized anger and hate and to get where he wanted to. And therefore, because he wanted to make certain changes and he used his power and his influence and whatever it is necessary to get to where he is right now. And now he's the president and he's making changes because he wanted to make those changes, right? So I said, instead of, complaining about him and what he's not doing right and not doing wrong, you should also utilize, him. You should look at him and make him like your, what do you say? Encouragement. Yeah, motivate. Yeah, there you go. Motivate. You're angry at Trump, then come make a change, right? You're angry at the changes that he made, then that should be you motivating yourself instead of saying he's bad and he's that and you should be okay. I want to make a change. Take the steps necessary forward. Go into politics. It's a lot of work, yes, I know. And he has gone through all of that, and that's a quality, right? So if you are so, affected by him, then you should be motivated enough to stand up and go through what he has gone through to reach where he is to make the change that you want to, right? So exactly the same, I think, as a concept of utilizing that anger to come into making. If you are angry because he made changes in regards to what is the global warming, then utilize that anger and go into it and use it to boost yourself, to encourage yourself to take the necessary steps to make the change. And most often we are like, but I can't, I don't have, he has that, this, we make all kinds of 10 different excuses to why we cannot. But in reality, if you are motivated enough, then people do all kinds of amazing things. Yeah, it's the people that have the least that do the most in many cases. And then there are a lot of people who have everything and still they say I can't. So yeah, so good point. Utilizing anger, utilizing fear in that sense also. Like I said, the ultimate goal is larger than this small anger that you have right here. So you utilize the anger too. You can do that. But again, be very, very aware when you are doing this, because if you are unable to do it in the right way, then anger can be the downfall or the destruction to your stability that you already have.
But I find when I was younger, my anger was used to fight, so it was very negative. But as I've gotten, I won't say I was wiser, I feel I try to use my anger as fire now. Fire.
As what?
Fire.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Ignite me.
Yes, yes. Encourage you to. Yes, yes.
Like igniting inside.
Yes, yes, yes.
Whereas a lot of my life when I was younger was fire.
Yes, yes. Good point, good point.
Hurt people,
Exactly.
that sort of thing.
Exactly.
It's like that igniting, recognizing the difference.
Yes, 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 yes. That's utilizing basically, in our daily life, utilizing in our daily life, in our structural life. Yeah, good point. So that's the same concept, Instead of using anger to fight, you are using anger to save those who are, to prevent others from, because the anger grows because you have experienced something. So now, and that time when you experience something, anger comes, then you want to react towards it, violence manner. And now when you utilize wisdom, then it becomes, it was not just me, there's so many people going through the same experience and I'm angry towards that, so now I want to motivate myself to shelter these people from that experience, things like that. So yeah, a lot of beautiful worldly, general worldly day-to-day life experiences where we are actually utilizing anger without even our knowledge. Come to think about it, and it's beautiful, right? So yeah, utilizing. But then again, like I said, wisdom is very, very, very crucial when you are learning to utilize anger. Okay, so just realizing that in itself is good. Okay, we stopped for lunch. Thank you so much. We are doing good so far? Okay, everyone doing good?